Good morning, our student. Today we are going to explain sentence type in English and their rendering into Arabic. First of all, we have to know that we have four kinds of English sentences in English. We have simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, and compound complex sentences. So first of all, you have to know the definition and what is the syntactic structure of each sentence. A simple sentence contains a subject and a verb. It expresses a single complete thought that can stand on its own. For example, the baby cried for food. Compound sentence, on other hand, it composed of two simple sentences, and both of these sentences are independent. Clauses are joined by a conjunction. They can stand by itself, and usually compound sentences joined by the conjunction for, and, nor, but, yet, and so. Each kind of these sentences express a complete thought. For example, they spoke to him in Spanish, but he responded in English. So we have two simple sentences and joined by the conjunction but, and each single sentence express one complete thought. So we have a compound sentence. The third one, we have a complex sentence. It is an independent clause joined by one or more dependent clauses. So in complex sentences we have one simple sentence and two compound sentences, one dependent and the other dependent. And usually in complex sentences we have dependent clause and independent clause joined by a conjunction, or sometimes we call it superordinator. For example, as, because, since, after, although, when, or relative pronoun. For example, after eating lunch at the cheesecake factory, Tim went to the gym to exercise. So we have compound sentences. How can I know that it is complex sentences? We have the conjunction after. Now, compound complex sentences, it shares the features of the two sentences, the two types. It is compound and at the same time complex. For example, after the two soccer players lost their game, they joined their other teammates for lunch and they went to the movies. This is the most complex kind of sentences, especially as far as translation is concerned. Now, the point is, how can we translate English sentences? If it is simple sentence, if it is compound, if it is complex. Both simple and compound sentences can be translated easily, depending on the verb of the sentence. Once you get the verb, you can start with it and translate it, since this sentence can stand by itself and can express a complete thought. Whereas the case is the reverse in complex and compound complex sentences. You have two parts in these sentences, main part and subordinate part, or we call it main clause and subordinate clause. So you as translator must start with the dependent clause, then you start with the independent or the superordinate clause when you want to translate it into the Arabic. Now we will have an examples. For example, I went to the beach. This is a simple sentence because it contains one verb and expresses complete thought. So once you want to translate it, you have to deal with the verb and you have to pay attention to the verb, whether it is in present, past, or past perfect. So we can translate it as ذهبت للشاطئ or ذهبت للساحل. The second kind of sentence, I went to the beach and I saw the sunset. This kind is a compound sentence. It composed of two simple sentences joined by and when you translate it, you can start translate either the first part, the main, or the second. Each of them are correct. For example, ذهبت للشاطئ ورأيت غروب الشمس. After I went to the beach, I felt happy. This is a complex clause, a complex sentence. How can I know it is a complex? Because we have the conjunction after. So I cannot start translating the first part of the sentence. I must not start from translating after I went to the beach. بعدما ذهبت للساحل شعرت بالفرح أو بالسعادة. This is wrong translation. You have to start with the main part or the main clause of the sentence. So you will start with I felt happy. شعرت بالسعادة بعد ذهابي للساحل. And for this we will end our lecture. Thank you very much for your listening.